It's older than Simon Shaw. But here is the bulked up English pack. Steve Borthwick, the under-fire captain. Simon Shaw, the massive presence alongside him. And the tall, rangy Tom Croft into the back row in the place of James Haskell. Behind the scrum, Paul Saki gives way to Ugo Monye on the wing. And what sort of performance will we have from Ricky Flutie, getting better every game he plays for England? France began cranking up the weights in the selection process. Into the second row comes Jérôme Tillon. Lionel Faure into the back row, Chabal into the back row, and the youngsters behind, two 20-year-olds, Morgan Parra and the real newcomer, but what a promise, Mathieu Bastareaud in the centre. Today's referee from Australia, Stuart Dickinson. The last time he was here, he took charge of England against Ireland. It turned into something of a real performance for England. The expectation is for heavyweight smashing up front. We might have more than that, though, if the two packs cancel each other out. If France, say, score some early points and England have to chase the game, we could be in for something much more adventurous. Toby Flood gets England-France underway. Good kick, Tom Croft chases. France pick up the bouncing ball. Morgan Parra, 20-year-old scrum half, just checks where his three-quarters are. Maxime Médard, a fullback, nearly charged down. First touch for Ugo Monye, through his legs. Monye.
Good coming, go.
Emmanuel Arnaud-Dequy, who's had exceptional hands all championship, drops his first touch. England with a chance, good hands, Dylan Armitage. Joe Worsley, good pass from the wing forward. Is that a sign of a new England? Danny Kerr, Flood, big Simon Shaw in the centre. It's worth bearing in mind that Simon Shaw is huge at 6'8" and nearly 20 stone, but he can play too. Ricky Flutie, England are going to score from Marqueto! What a start for England! What a reply to all the criticism. The game gets off to a blazing start.
Well, that is what England have been looking for all the championship, and they found it in the first 2 minutes. Good quick ball, and the most important thing is that they recognised where the imbalance was, because when they came back down the blind side, Chabal was there, and he was against Flutie. You watch here, there's a mismatch. Chabal, and he simply outpaces him, draws his man, and the rest is, well, there's a little bit of work to do, but Cueto is a good winger, an experienced winger, and he finishes out off as he should have done. But the important thing is that England managed to create and then recognise and exploit the mismatch.
The fist is still clenched, but that is a sign of joy at the start of this game at Twickenham. Simple conversion for Toby Flood. 7-0 England lead.
Well, if that doesn't give England the confidence now to play, then nothing will at home. Very early on, a very well-worked try. A complete mismatch there, look. Gusatois as well, they're outpaced.
Here comes the restart, up goes Steve Borthwick.
And that's something as well that England have not done well. Gathered the restart and driving.
Shaw has it at the back of the maul. Danny Kerr. Flood just checks, goes against the tide, straightens, reproduces sweetly for Lee Mears. Now then, Thierry Dusautoir, the tackler.
He did well, Mears, there actually, almost man and ball, but managed to get back down. There's a bit of scuffling going on off the ball here.
There is just out a shot away from Danny Kerr. They're all up on their feet now. Morgan Parra has to sell the dummy. Danger. Yannick Josian has the strength to ride the challenge of Ricky Flutie.
Well, England chased well there. They had options. Wherever French threw the ball.
Mathieu Bastareaud drops the ball. Andrew Sheridan picks it up. Advantage being played. There could be one for England. Tyndall straight down the field. Cédric Aimance covers across. That's well controlled by France's number 11. Kept his cool well there.
Get your hand off the ball. You've had 4 goals.
Well, he had the confidence there.
Leave it alone.
To chip the ball across the field, knowing that there was space with which to work. Looking for the man before the ball is caught.
Time out.
Cédric Aimance with the left-footed kick to touch. Here is the youngster, Mathieu Bastareaud.
Referee's calling for a timeout. I don't quite know why.
Yeah, time off, yes.
Time off still. Dimitri Zarzewski has to wait.
We'll get it done.
This is for, I think, cut. Or is it the ever-present bleeding from Steve Borthwick's nose?
I'll have a word to them as well. They're number 4. Just keep it calm.
They're to try again. Look at that. A complete mismatch. And Flutie, well, it was never in doubt once he recognised it. And that is one of the difficulties playing Chabal in the back row out of his normal 8 position. You do not have the pace to catch people like Flutie.
Here's a celebration by Mark Cueto. Nothing compared with a celebration in front of him in the crowd. We're underway again. There is the try scorer. France's hooker. Challenged by England. Well claimed. Flood under pressure, caught just inside his own 22. But not turned over.
It's carried back. Stop 5, White. Thank you.
Julien Malzieu. Tackled by Monya. Josian. And it was Simon Shaw who made the tackle on France's centre. France still in possession. Trinduc. And the strength of Bastareaud. Oh, the feet of Bastareaud. Couldn't quite get the pass away to Aimance. Forward pass, but just a little glimpse of the danger of the new boy, Mathieu Bastareaud.
Well, that shows he isn't just a big banger, is he? Well, that Flutie has to get it a lot low. He's got a lower there. But here's the feet, which puts full-back off line. He's so big, he's like John Aloma. If he gets you off the wrong foot, you're never going to catch him with just an arm tackle. And England, fortunate in the end that he threw it forward.
France with a little nudge forward at the engagement.
Well, I would expect these to be titanic battles because it's a huge French pack.
Harry Ellis, England's scrum half, 4.4
Having
kilos.
said that, completely wrong with, I think Simon Shaw makes up for a lot of that.
Crouch, touch.
Very important Phil Vickery here.
Phil Vickery on this side against Lionel Faure, Wasps player against a Sale player.
Well, that's twice that Vickery hasn't managed to get a bind, and I'm sure that the touch judge will be relaying that to the referee.
Free kick for England.
Keep your shoulders up, keep them in. Yeah, you're going there.
But Stuart Dickinson sees something on his side of the scrum. And really, France have given away there. Point of pressure. Now, what will they do with this ball?
Only a free kick, so France have the throw-in, which they took quickly. Médard, good hands. Mathieu Bastareaud again. Malzieu outside him. Malzieu cuts back. Tall, strong. Did he run into his own player, Sylvain Marconnet? Play on. Now then, France might be able to work the numbers here.
Tyndall is hurt and down on the other side.
Josian can't get the ball away. Comes now for Parra. Harry Nordicki, good pass to Emos. Parra calls in the forward reinforcements. Turnover to England.
Now they need to get it away.
Stay back. Sure.
Ellis, Flood, all the way across field to Armitage.
Advantage over.
To Monia, advantage over. Monia against Malzieu. Monia with the speed. Takes two to drag him down.
Where's the support?
It's there now. Vickery will have to go in. He leaves it in the end for Ellis. Shaw. One giant hand pops it back to Ellis. Lemier's the hooker. Tackled by another front row forward. Four. Another tackle by Dussautoir. He made 36 against New Zealand in the World Cup match in Cardiff.
Stay up, Blue. Ball was out.
Nick Easter.
Run away.
Dussautoir again, the tackler.
No advantage. Two, playing the ball on the ground. On your feet, please.
Well, England
Holding on.
prepared to be
Playing the ball.
patient. They've got to decide, though, the difference between ball which they can move wide and which they can't. A couple of times there they were running sideways and it nearly cost them. But when they're running direct and when they see the clear lines, they're looking much better. Still the problem with getting the quick ball at exactly the right time, but that's poor. You've got to put that away.
Cédric Emos doesn't make much ground, but he did well to keep his foot away from the touchline. He almost had time to have a word with the touch judge, Tim Hayes.
Take them all with you.
Well, the difference is, although England got the throw, they've got it 25 yards further away from the French line than they ought to have had. Monia here, well, that's easy, isn't it? That mismatch is going to be looked at all day. Good hands.
Well taken, Simon Shaw. Pass went forward. Advantage France being played. Doesn't seem to be much of one. There isn't.
Nothing there. Thank you.
Trying to do too much. Simon
Straight
Shaw
forward, no
did well
advantage.
enough
Blue scrum.
to pick the ball up without then trying to move it on.
By Tyndall back on his feet.
Time out.
Time off call. Did some other England player requiring attention? Looks like Mark Cueto.
And the French hooker as well. Krzyzewski, he's getting seen
There,
to.
Greg.
Cueto's okay. He's
Thanks,
just needs
Greg.
water. Austin.
Yes, Eddie, well, the England try was a great start. This performance has been fermenting, actually, for weeks. And if we have a little look at it, England will have seen that from the Wales game last time, France were very short on the blind side. And it's very simple. All they do is go there, get the fast guys attacking against the slow guys. We see Flutie here. He's got three guys outside him. He does the right thing. He runs straight and holds the defence on the inside, creating the try. When you've got fast guys against those front five on the blind side, there's only one outcome, and a fantastic start from England.
Back live, free kick to France from the scrum. Morgan Parra thumped to the ground. Flood and Worsley, the tacklers.
Get out of the way.
Oof, another thumping tackle, this time on Lionel Mallet. Penalty to France. Simon Shaw coming in from the side. So knock on by Shaw or forward pass by Shaw, and now penalty against Shaw.
From the side.
Well, this is an example of ill discipline. Simon Shaw knows he's in the side there. For goodness sake, how long has he played? He knows where the gap is.
Are you having a shot? Time out.
The ball was slow anyway. Leave it. Instead,
Time out. Yeah.
England are going to face a
Having
penalty
shot?
kick
You having a shot?
and potentially
Something
giving
on.
away, part of their lead.
10 minutes, the I word.
Yeah, mate, don't want to take the weight on.
Indiscipline.
Gone down and just drop straight down. I want shoulders above the hips. Oh, mate, it's just the front row there, mate. They've just taken on the head.
You want hips lower, shoulders higher.
That's it. Thank you. Are you kicking or no? Yes. Okay. Time back on. Shot for goal.
Long range shot at goal coming
Let's
up
go.
from
Time
France.
back on. Yep. Well, okay, he's up now, righto. No problem. There you go.
Australian referee and England captain having a word there. Parra to take the shot at goal. was given the kicking duties against France, having kicked once at international level before that. Did pretty well against Wales, and here he is, this to put France on the scoreboard. They remain at 0.
And I'm not surprised he's unhappy, because he didn't even connect well.
22.
Well wide, well low. England let off.
François Trinduc to Imanol Arinaldoki. Joe Worsley slips off perhaps his first tackle of the Six Nations. Lemieux does bring down the next Frenchman. Dusautoir, the next ball carrier.
5, take a step, white 5.
Marconnet.
No advantage.
Another bit of indiscipline by England.
Twice down, number 5. He's in front of the last foot. I asked him to go back.
Simon Shaw again.
I asked you to go back. You have wet foot in front. Offside.
Well, whether or not you agree with the interpretation, if you're told, you do. Not done. England under pressure. Arinaldoki, that's a penalty actually, but never mind that.
Take him at the front, kick going.
I tell you something, he may have been a foot offside, but I've seen much worse in many more games this championship.
Zalewski to throw.
Out you go, 2 metres. Wait, you're in.
Chabal,
Don't go, stay out.
ball catcher. Zalewski. Trinduc, tackled by Sheridan. Arinaldoki has an instinct for those little gaps close to ruck and maul. Trinduc, he has 2. France suddenly looking dangerous. Turnover ball against them. England steal it. Dylan Armitage, who played a lot of his rugby in France, in Nice, played for France at under 16 level.
Well, France aren't helping themselves. They've made 2 half breaks. The ball wasn't to hand there.
Just a little sip. Okay.
What an important saving tackle by Phil Vickery.
That's it. Take it off.
Good work, and good work by way of interception in the end. But France now have had 2 platforms in the England half and not really managed to put them under sufficient pressure.
Tom Croft there, wearing 6, with licence to roam. Arinaldoki wins line-out ball. Trinduc, Josian cuts back. Harry Ellis bounces off him. Here comes
Release!
Chabal. Zalewski against Toby Flood. Trinduc, Josian gets the ball away to Malzieu.
Back you go, last lead 8, 6, sorry, back you go.
A couple of yards made by Zalewski. Dusautoir plays scrum half to Lionel Nallet, who's had a bit of criticism himself as France's captain from the second row. Oh dear. England's patience works off. They slowed France down and induced the error.
Well, the French are suffering from that which England suffered very early on in the championship. They're lining big men up, but they're not making the ground. They're not making ball go forward quickly. Everything is slow, and the defence is lining them up. And unfortunately for them, when they're lined up like that, if they take the eye off the ball or if they get hit hard, there's always a chance that they'll spill, and that's the 3rd time that they've ceded ball to England, either by a knock-on or turnover in the English half, and they'll find it very difficult to build a platform if they cannot retain the ball.
Little pause here as both packs. There's the sun over the west stand. Tom Croft. Good start by England. Points on the board, and they've been excellent in defence.
That's just the point I was going to make, Eddie. You've also got to give credit to the England tacklers in the hard spaces around the breakdowns, because they've stopped the drives. And France not at the moment recognising that they need to play one further out than that.
We've had nothing but free kicks on the scrimmage so far, and we've got a penalty this time, so no chance for the forwards to lock horns at the set piece. And when the ball goes dead, we can have a word with Lawrence down on the touchline.
Well, a great start for England, wasn't it? A perfect start, really, 7-0. And England will be very, very happy. I saw Martin Johnson's face when England scored. He was willing, Mark Cueto, to put the ball down. Very impressed with England. They've been patient. They've thwarted France and frustrated France, and it's France who are showing the indiscipline. So, ideal start for England, and hopefully they can build on it now with this line-out.
Stripped line out. Steve Borthwick won the ball. Nick Easter, Joe Worsley. They need quick ball here. Semi-quick. Andrew Sheridan. Good tackle on him by Zalewski. Harry Ellis has to go burrowing a bit for it.
Playing advantage, 8 offside.
Penalty advantage against Ali Nordaki as his opposite number Nick Easter drives on. Borthwick. Oops. Doesn't matter because England have the penalty and a chance to reach double figures.
In front of the last feet. I asked him to go back. He was ahead of the last feet.
Well, the good thing about Stuart Dickinson in that area is that he's been totally consistent. Said about Harry Nordaki, I told him once, he didn't go back. Said the same to Simon Shaw. These are, they're very marginal, I have to say. I mean, I watched the Scotland-Ireland game yesterday when both teams were a good half a yard advanced to where both Shaw and Harry Nordaki got pinged there, but those are the rules. He's applied them, and the main thing is that he's applied them consistently. And both teams now know not to do it, if they're sensible.
England lead, 5 points for Toby Flood. A penalty to add to his earlier conversion.
One of the problems I foresee with France this afternoon is the side they've picked is so one-dimensional in the sense that it's a team picked to be direct in everything. They haven't got the sleight of hand, the fleetness of foot to change completely, and they may need to do so.
Good hanging kick and an excellent take by Steve Borthwick.
In the air, pushing the man.
And when you're under pressure, this is what happens. You start doing daft things.
Not Borthwick, Chabal.
Actually, I've seen more of Borthwick in this game than the previous games.
Thank you. All with you, please.
England again take the numbers down to 4. Andrew Sheridan, Steve Borthwick, Tom Croft and Phil Vickery in front of Lee Mears. Borthwick wins. He's having some game, the captain. Simon Shaw, Nick Easter getting a bit of a tangle. But it's England's day at the moment because they retrieve the ball and...
Waiting.
It's slow, but it will be England's. Harry Ellis.
The IRB have got to do something about this. That's either in or out. It's going to be played or not.
Cedric Emos waits for it. Heads off across the field. Joe Worsley and Simon Shaw grab him.
Take a step, 6. Carried back. Stop still, Blue. Wait, 7.
Long kick. Stop. That's a very good clearance by Francois Trinduc. And at long last, somebody makes the decision to kick the ball not dead, into touch. What a long touch finder too.
It was a huge kick. He was called that he put it back into his own 22, and therefore, if it had gone out on the full, we'd have had to go right back to where he kicked him from, but because it bounced into touch, then he gets the advantage of that. But England's line-out is working very well today.
Tom Croft, the catcher there.
Line-out's over.
Back row forward, roaming in the line-out.
Where is the chaser for this?
Harry Ellis. It's Mark Cueto and Simon Shaw. Shaw flattens the much smaller scrum half, Morgan Parra. Aimance to Thierry Dussautoir. Chabal against his teammate, Andrew Sheridan. Chabal does well. Josian. Now then, change of tactic. Dylan Armitage has gone up for it and takes it quite superbly. Chance for England now. Toby Flood ran onto it well.
Offside.
Advantage England. They still have a chance to make something of that great counter initiated by Dylan Armitage.
Come back, 6 blue offside. Here. Time out. Just hold it there. Time out. Offside lines, please.
Well, never takes his eye off the ball.
Okay, offside lines. Number 6.
Perfect execution. And the important thing is just there, he makes enough ground to get in front of the people who are then going to come along and support.
Offside, time back on. Yep, just move out of the way, let's go, we'll play on.
Austin, an opinion on the referee?
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of talk about England's indiscipline, but in actual fact, it's perception of the referee. In previous games, there's been some sin bins that haven't really been sin bins, and I'll show you a couple of examples. This one here, the two English, Sheridan and Shaw, both hit the ground when Sazorski's on his feet. They just go straight off their feet. That ends up being a penalty to England, which is the wrong way round. And in much the same manner, England are onside here. The French guys take the ball in. Their carrier goes straight over the top to ground. Our defender rolls away. All the England forwards are onside, and yet the penalty goes to France. So it is about perception of the referee as well as the discipline of the players.
Good point, and the referee is obviously perceiving that the French are the miscreants at the moment, and it just shows that these 50-50s, once a referee, and they're only human, it's not purposeful, once they get an idea into the mind, they will ping you continually.
I would love to see you refereeing a game, Austin. I know you're used to as a player, but actually as a referee. Lemieux, good chance for England to attack. Tom Croft, the winner. Nick Easter, good pass and then break. Mark Cueto, try for Ricky Flutie. Excellent set-piece move. Sweeping move by England.
Deja vu of a kind. This time, it wasn't just the back row that worked it. More intricate than the one where Tate made the break against Ireland. This time, he looked left, and the same man who was there 2 weeks ago was there this time. Ricky Flutie, and the result takes England well in front, very well executed. Matthew Tate has learnt, but it all comes from Super Bowl there, doesn't it? In, out, again, in, out, this time. Ball to Flutie, 7 points. Thank you very much.
Toby Flood adds his second conversion. England 2 tries to the good. They are flying at the moment.
And at the moment, Teddy, you look at the body language of the French forwards. They're huffing and puffing. They're under pressure, they're giving penalties away, and France desperately need to get into this game. They need, I can't remember France having, 3 or 4 minutes of possession, and they desperately need that now.
Tom Croft having an outstanding game so far. Borthwick takes it on, gives the pass. The captain is playing his part too. Ellis, he makes a couple of yards. Easter, he makes a couple of yards.
Well, you've got a second row and a number 8 in the backs and the centres at the moment for France.
This might work for England. It's Joe Worsley. Phil Vickery. Everybody has an appetite to be involved. Worsley. 2 passes out of Joe Worsley this afternoon. 3. Shaw. It's all gone pear-shaped. Simon Shaw smashed. Now France have a chance to counter. Oh, good little dummy by Tanduc. who then doesn't release. It's the penalty against France, against Yannick Josian.
And turned, well, Pala it was who did the old trick of pretending he didn't know it was a penalty against him and running up for the ball, so it couldn't be taken quickly. That's a hard penalty. He was coming over, he's over the top of the player from England who's, you know, involved in the tackle, he's misbalanced it. But it does show, once referees get in their mind that you are the guilty party and more likely to be so, then everything seems to go against you. I thought that was a harsh penalty.
Time out. Time out.
Zalzewski, the tackler. Simon Shaw, the spiller.
How long, please? Thank you.
And Shaw requires attention.
Yeah, that's fine, mate, yeah.
Well, the French management not happy here, and one of the things that they won't be happy about is the fact that England's kicking strategy here, it's been poor at times, but if you watch infield as well as at the point of contact, there are two players well up there, so if that ball does come back, you know, you've got two players who are stood right on the people who are going to receive, and the only option then is either to go very, very wide, which is very risky, or kick the ball back.
Nick Easter, the inside ball, such a lookalike move to the one they tried in Ireland. That didn't work. This one does for Ricky Flutie. Another four-man line-out for England. Croft and Borthwick, the jumpers. Borthwick wins. Easter again takes the contact this time, but does make that little half-metre. Here comes Tulan Armitage. Lilias, forward pass. Forward pass. Won't count.
Well, I thought that one was forward. I don't think that one was. The last one, I don't think was forward. The one to Mears was.
The one to Mears was called forward.
Yep.
And the one to Mears was forward. From Mears.
No, I think this one is the forward one. Just forward.
Touch, pause, engage.
I don't think that is forward.
Penalty against France.
You're just dropping straight down. Keep it up, stay up.
We've had no scrimmage contest so far because the referee has blown just about every single time.
Yeah.
Yannick Josian with the touch finder.
Actually, an interesting one there, the argument about whether the ball actually goes forward from the point at which it's passed, irrespective of the fact that it goes behind the man who's passed. It's, you know, the arguments of relativity, and it gets very complicated. Doesn't matter, it's been given now.
Line-out's over.
France's captain takes responsibility for the line-out. Lionel Nallet. Harry Northerkey drags Shaw out the way. France go aerial again. Armitage claimed the last one.
It's too short, that kick, though.
Advantage, lost forward.
Ugo Monye clears up for England. There is an England advantage being played. There is none. They'll come back for the
no
scrum.
advantage to whites.
And France at the moment looking very limited indeed. Once they were met
White ball
on the gain line by the white shirts, they've really not managed to find any way to go forward. That kick far too short. England have a big blind side here if they want. 2 against 1 at the moment with Flutie and Monye.
It's too far. Crouch, touch,
against
pause,
Malzieu.
Stuart Dickinson blows again.
You're both heading in there. Let's do it straight.
See at the moment there on the right wing, 1 man against 2 England potential attackers. They've been looking for the scrum half.
Pause, engage.
Power to try and shore that up, but if Ellis blocks him off with a pass, keeps his leg there, you'll have a 2-on-1. And you'll have Monye flying.
Thank you.
Referee changes sides.
Wait. That's it. That's fair enough. Now
to
come
keep
up.
an eye on the Vickery 4
Touch, pause, engage.
duels. And it goes down on the other side. And a free kick to France.
To get a bind. Hey.
Lottery.
It isn't any good, the referee, just doing this either. He's got to start talking to people in the front row and say, we're not having this, we're bored.
Thanks, Nigel.
Arino the key.
Stay back.
Pops out. France have packed the side nearer us, this one. There they all are, and now they start to sweep the other way. Slow ball for France. Zalzewski goes through Mark Cueto. Full width now for them to work with. Trinduc, Jérôme Tillon, but it's being shipped on to forward standing still. Or passed into thin air. Arino the key did well to sort that out. Front row take it on.
Back 5.
Arino the key. Trinduc, forward it goes. This is very laboured by France.
This is the most un-French-like team and performance for a long time. Their history, their natural flair. Well, there isn't any here.
8 blue down.
Joe Mazzo there.
This is a horrible pass. Look at that. Oh dear, it's
But
forward.
not only was it a horrible pass, it was a horrible passage of play. Slow, bang, slow. That is usually one of the more reliable statistics.
Okay.
Ball in opponent's 22, 5-0. And the bits of ball that France have got into relatively advanced areas has been lost by turnovers, good England turnovers, and by knock-ons.
Happy, Lawrence?
Time back on.
Yeah. Well, you've got to agree with Brian there. You know, France are just incredibly predictable. They seem to be coming round the corner, and there's quite a few England tacklers waiting for them. You've got to give England credit. They seem to be reading everything France do and knocking them backwards. And there's, you know, France have got absolutely no go forward at the moment.
Lawrence, please, you don't have to agree with Brian at all. There's the England bench.
Just come right up.
James Haskell in the middle.
Yeah, right up. Drew. No, come.
Harry Ellis,
Crouch. Touch.
who's come back after serious knee injury this season. That's a better scrum for England. Very good scrum.
Stay on.
Nick Easter just makes France suffer a bit more. Mike Tyndall, there is room here. He chose to kick towards Médard. France not even attempting the counter-attacking game that was so productive against Ireland. Cédric Aimance. Well, it's good ground gained. Well done, Harry Ellis. Although we now go back into aerial bombardment mode. This could go on for some time.
15, where you are.
Poor kick.
Back 15.
Very, very poor kick. And Médard, hitherto, had been one of the few of any back three that's been prepared to consistently counter-attack, and it's even got to him. All his confidence has gone as well.
But that doesn't matter anyway.
Arino the key makes the catch. Up she goes again from Barra. Darmitage takes the catch well, stays on his feet long enough for support to arrive. At least it puts an end to the kicking for the moment. Sheridan.
They could go left as an imbalance as well with only Chabal.
Easter, well, then he got away out of the tackle. Oh, Tyndall's pass intercepted by a Frenchman, and arriving Frenchman then give away the penalty. But slightly lucky there, England, to get away with that.
Man on his feet above the ball, it's got to come.
Well, given that there's been this number of penalties given away by France, I'm surprised that Dickinson has not had a word and said, next one off. That was the right idea by Tyndall. Unfortunately, it was 2 seconds too late.
And also Malzieu is very tall. Feels more than 7 against 4, doesn't it?
It does feel more, but at some point, you know, a couple of free kicks as well.
Sorry?
This is a tactic which has worked excellently for England today.
The short line out.
Yeah, they've not been touched at the moment, and Borthwick has been playing his full part. You've got to give credit where it's due, and he deserves the credit today.
Tom Croft this time. Easter, Flood. Du Sautoir makes the tackle.
Stay back.
Tyndall, direct. Tackled by Géantillon.
Thank you.
Shaw uses Sheridan as a shield. Play on, says the referee, immediately. Here's Nick Easter, good leg drive. Ricky Flutie. Flood.
Run away! Let it come. Stay, push back 3. Last 3.
Borthwick.
Keep going! Yeah! Let's go!
Flutie. Tries to get a little pace into the game. That's relatively quick ball for Tyndall. Now the missed pass does work. Nick Easter.
Get them all. Release tackler!
It's there for Ellis. Change of tactic. Medar should have this covered.
Well, worth the attempt.
Medar takes it quickly. Toby Flood is back. Medar and Aimons in pursuit.
Stay there.
Thierry Du Sautoir.
Off you go.
Morgan Parra. François Traduc. That's the halfway line. Aliénor de Kiel. One hooker tackled by another. Switch of play by Josion to Chabal, who loses it. And England can break out here. Delon, Armitage, Medar scampers back, but Cueto is right behind him. Cueto makes the tackle.
That's going to be a penalty.
Penalty advantage to England. All came from the turnover.
Got to go wide here, just go wide.
Ellis can see the ball. He can also see the goal line. Easter goes in.
Well, now it's so long, they've got to drive it short.
Shaw held up. It's a long old wait, but it comes to the captain, Steve Borthwick. All the England forwards are there. There's very little out in the three-quarter line. It's going to be a rumble. France's defence good for the moment. Borthwick get involved. It's out now for Flood to Lee Mears to Simon Shaw. He's should. They have numbers on the left now. England must be. It surely is, and it's Dylan Armitage who scores England's third try.
The crowd can't believe what they're seeing, but they are right. France are being torn to shreds at the moment, and although I disagreed with England in the way the options were taken right down by the line, they had the patience and the ability to retain possession, and when the hands were needed, they were there. No more than they deserve in this game. This is a symptomatic of French's problems. Look, battering, great turnover by Flutie, and then the ball is moved inside and out. Easy for Armitage.
England are very good, and Flood completes the execution of the third try, 3 times 7, plus the penalty by Flood. 24 points to England. It must be said that France are in tatters.
They are in tatters, partly because they have a game plan that's obviously been executed by Inspector Clouseau, but partly by the fact that England are defending very, very well, and when they're getting the opportunities, they're putting France under pressure. And it shows good players, whoever you are, you put under pressure, you have problems. That was an early take.
Went backwards, referee says play on. Josian, Trinduc. Another turnover for England, it might work. Again, the kick downfield. Mark Cueto in pursuit, and he could win the foot race. Tom Croft is there. Ellis,
yes,
to Flood. Oh, England can crawl over, and they're still in. They can't do it. It was easier to score.
There's no
the knock then. Ellis waits, should still be on. Flutie, Easter, and last they're over, and it's Joe Worsley, recalled at the start of the Six Nations. He's tackled his heart out, and now he's a try scorer.
How happy will he be, and him, and them? You've got to forgive the England crowd if they seem excessive in their celebration. Oh dear, that doesn't look good. They've been starved of this, and it is against France. I don't care whether France are clueless at the moment. I think England are playing well.
Here's the turnover.
Simon Shaw, good hands here, look at this, holds him off, flicks the ball away. They could have scored at any of 3 points here with a good bounce there. Didn't come with the kick here. I thought, had Toby Flood not here slipped, that one's one, and they eventually went over.
Tom Croft involved from start to finish there. Little offloads, Easter
Borthwick.
to Borthwick.
Nigel.
This doesn't look good. Toby Flood is coming off. Looks like a popped shoulder.
Looks good for Joe Worsley, the scorer, but you're right, Brian. As England celebrate there on the replay, live, Toby Flood is already off.
Well, that's a
And
great
it's
shame.
Dylan Armitage who will take the conversion.
Flood, who's led the line well, occasionally gone into contact when maybe it might not have done, but apart from that, played very well, and England have to hope that it's not as serious as it does look.
The crowd cannot raise a cheer, but, well, only for that conversion. They can certainly raise a cheer for England's first half performance here at Twickenham. It's been a devastating performance, a positive performance by England, and at half-time they lead almost incredibly by 29 points to 0.
I don't know what will be said in the French dressing room, but the guillotine has to be an option for lots of them. They've been woeful, and England have been very good.
Well, you could blow me down with a feather. When did England last play like this against anybody? And Cueto's try was after just 69 seconds. Great bait by Ricky Flutie. And, well, that one missed goal, a missed attempt by Parra, just about sums up the entire French effort in that first 40 minutes. There's Flutie's try, and England actually repeating moves that they actually orchestrated against Ireland, but today with much greater effect. That was Tom Croft thinking he'd scored, but he hadn't. But it was only a matter of time before England scored again. Dylan Armitage, Joe Worsley right at the end. And we find ourselves, look at the old scoreboard, England 29, France 0, and England's record victory over France. The very first time the two sides ever met at Twickenham, 37-0 in 1911. And the way things are going, well, let's go down to the pitch side and Lawrence.
I think most pundits, didn't they, said England by around 7. That certainly was your prediction, Lawrence. Goodness, 29 points on the board already. What's been the key to it, do you think, in this first half?
Well, I think it's been the start. I think I meant 7 points after 2 minutes, but confidence is a massive thing in international rugby, something that England have been a little bit short of. We've been hearing sort of mutterings from the camp that it's nearly there, it's nearly there. When you score a try against a team like France after 2 or 3 minutes or whatever it was very early in the game, the confidence has just come, and England have been very, very impressive. All the areas where there's a bit of concern, Steve Borthwick leading the team, a lot of criticism coming his way. Thought he's done everything that's been asked of him, he's played very, very well. And I think right across the team, they're tackling their hearts out. France look very, very predictable. As good as England have been, France have been very, very poor. But I'm not really too bothered about France. It's very exciting to talk about an England performance where they're winning, so convincingly at half-time against, let's not forget, a team that put Wales to the sword last week.
Joe Worsley got the 4th try, and Martin Johnson was in the stand complaining that Toby Flood hadn't scored in the build-up to that try. Do you think his sheer will to win is beginning to rub off here?
Well, I think that's the only thing that Martin Johnson will be complaining about. You could see the emotion coming through on his face, etched on his face when they scored the first try with Cueto. To be honest, it's been a perfect half for England. The only slight disappointment has been the injury to Toby Flood.
Absolutely. I mean, you say you don't want to talk about the French, but they can be flaky, but they're a shadow of the side that beat Wales. What's going on here, do you think?
Well, I have to say, if you were a French supporter, you're just so disappointed because, they can go from the sublime last week. They were so physical, they were strong, they were technically brilliant, to, what's been quite honestly a fairly shambolic performance against England. Not taking anything away from England. So desperately disappointing. France seem to have a problem when they come across the channel and play over here. They've capitulated, and really, if they don't get their act together in the second half, it's going to be, we could see England scoring the same again.
England could be heading for a 3rd win in the Six Nations Championship in a row against the French.
Facts and figures, pretty conclusive and one-sided, one suspects. 60-40 in terms of possession. Territory, 55. Howard, I don't understand that statistic at all. The key thing, though, is ball 1 in opposition 22. France, 0. Rafa, do you want to stay or do you want to leave now?
I mean, are you sure you want to hear what I think about this first half from a French point of view? Honestly, I think it was dreadful, and too many turnovers. The only time we had the ball, we made some good breaks, early on, but, turnovers and defensively as well, we're not there, and we need to show more urgency. It's just about urgency, in the intensity of the game.
Okay, that's enough, France. Let's talk it.
That's it.
Yeah, total joy.
No more comments.
It's fantastic to see England play this well, but to be serious, it's basic rugby. It's not flash, it's not flamboyant, it's not over the top. It's just taking the ball in, getting relatively quick ball, getting that delivered, and away you go. It's really simple, but it's good to see less mistakes.
But if you get a good start, everything kind of flows from there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just an incredible start. If you watch it, there's the Haran Nordicki. He's been absolutely fantastic. France lack the emotion and the passion that they had against Wales. But just watch this. What happens is, there's 2 forwards there. He spots it. He goes on the outside, and it's done. The support is there, and that's a very, very simple try. Clever play by Flutie, puts Cueto in. John was shouting him to put the ball down, and that's a great play, 69 seconds. But just watch what happens. It's not only the 2 forwards. Desautoir rushes out to the line and just invites Flutie to take him on. Look at him, he's standing, no chance. He's put Chabal in a position there which he has no chance. What a fantastic start. And the difference, as Jerry said, the difference has been, it's reading the game, assessing what's in front of them and playing it.
Ricky Flutie's been threatening to do that. I saw it against Wales where he's taking the opposition on, standing still, chit-chat, chick-chack as the French says.
Yeah, this is the French expression.
And
seen that too much from England.
The support, but the difference is...
Calm down.
The support has been there. And that's been the difference. We've seen the breaks, but also the support, which makes the trust.
It's been there in previous games. They've created, but they haven't finished. So now they've finished, and you could, as Lauren said, the confidence went through the whole side.
There's lots of tries to show, but one other incident from that first half, because we've accused England of being pedestrian and one-paced for so many years. When did you last see this in any game of rugby where a winger, one-on-one, goes straight past...
As a supporter, as a fan, as a neutral, this is what you want to see, the match-up. It's gladiatorial, a speedster against speedster, and Monia is just gassing. It is. Do you know what? This is the scariest thing. You're like, I'm supposed to be quick, you're quick. Let's have a go, one-on-one.
And I tell
awesome
you, Julian Malzi, you know, is not like an amateur. You know, he played last week at the Sevens, you know, in Dubai for the World Cup.
That's enough from
You
you.
know what he says? He goes, there's the outside,
Yeah.
take it, and he does.
Ricky Flutie got the try, doesn't
Well, again, executed brilliant. We saw it against Ireland, and this is Ireland, and it's a beautiful move, but there's a little bit of succouring for the Welsh defence. Worsley does a little bit of a semi-block, but Tate here doesn't make the pass to Flutie. Flutie was there. Now we'll see the difference.
Difference here today is just what the same thing that happens. The ball comes out, the dummy runner, just keep an eye on the dummy runner. He's going to take the ball and he holds the defence, but just watch it there. He blocks. That is a block, Joe Worsley, which allows the inside ball so the French defender can't go across. There's the support, and this time the pass goes to him. There's two differences between that and the Irish. One, the Irish defender went in for the wrong man. That was a block, and the player is there, the pass is made, and that's why they score. It's the same move, done perfectly, but there's a block.
Is that a penalty to France?
No, I don't think so. I think we, you know, in the Northern Hemisphere, we always complain about Richie McCaw's, you know, play, you know, display, and this is what he does, you know, every weekend with the All Blacks. So for once, you know, we can complain about that. I think it's well done.
Listen, England scored 5 tries, but they could have had 5, really. You know, a couple of forward passes denying Tom Croft a try.
Yeah, they've been doubling back, which has been great. But here, OK, there was forward passes, but the intent is what I wanted to kind of point out, that they have studied France and decided, right, they're a bit loose on the blind side, Rafa, aren't they?
Yeah, well, defensively, it's pretty obvious the French want to get far side as quick as possible. But then we see, you know, that they put the quickest backs, you know, against all forwards, and I think we're a bit too lazy to set the line quickly. We don't set the line together, so that creates spaces for.
Listen, the second half's going to begin in a couple of moments' time. We must talk about the 2 tries right at the conclusion of the first half. I mean, and what is happening with the French in this kind of situation? Just giving the ball away all over the place, Rafa.
That's clever
Come
play.
on, this is our biggest man, you know, on the field today, and you don't want to see that. I don't want to see that anymore.
Okay, well, well, go on then, Jonathan, talk us through this.
I just think it's, you know, he's not, you know, constant in the control of the ball. Don't know how much he sees it. It's a lovely, lovely kick, right? Because Merck is waiting for the ball to go over the try line. It doesn't. He's lucky he didn't get the yellow card. But then again, a couple of phases later, that's a very simple try for Armitage. Very, very simple. They could have scored about 30 seconds earlier, but for some reason they waited, you know, for the ball to come out. As soon as the ball was ready, should have gone and they'd have scored into the post 30 seconds earlier.
And then Joe Worsley just rounds things off.
Yeah, the intent, we've had a couple of turnovers that England have created from. You got Simon Shaw, a bit dodgy whether he was onside on that point, but he gets it. He's got the nice to hand off, the ball's released, another kick ahead, and there's so much space behind, and we got quick guys, and I think, you know, I thought 1 minute Croft was going to score, I thought Harry Ellis was going to score, I thought Flood was going to score.
I think Flood
thought he was going to score there, poor guy. Yeah, we got a feel for him. He injured himself there, and eventually the ball comes out, and it's, you know, they're queuing up the score, and eventually Joe Worsley goes
Good hands by Borthwick there, to be honest, because I thought they might have messed that up. Too many players there, but he did a quick hands and he put it over.
Steve Borthwick has been the subject of so much criticism, and he's had a really good first half. So, you know, and his half-time team talk is a very easy one to make. Austin, what are your thoughts?
I just think England have looked far more intense in their performance. The pace of the game's a lot better. They've analysed France clearly and where their weaknesses are. Maydard at fullback has been terrible, constantly out of position. You can now tell that he's a winger. I wouldn't be surprised if he was replaced at half-time by Try. And for me, England have upped their intensity, which has been the only thing they've really lacked. And as I said before, the perception of some of the decisions has changed. Now they're on the front foot. And I hope they can move forward in the second half and play with some of the same attractive rugby, because it's been fantastic to watch.
Well, was that me, or did that French team look like it was marching out?
Yeah, I thought they'd come out, you know, bouncing and try and get some pride back. But I only had to look at Rafa's face there.
No, I just think, you know, hopefully, I don't want to think 1 second, you know, we came to this game with a bit of complacency. Complacency?
Yeah.
What's the word for that? Yeah.
Just hopeless.
Yeah, exactly. No. But I mean, you don't want to be too complacent, you know, when you're going to such a intimidating place like Twickenham. So
we saw immense pain on Toby Flood's face there, Sonia.
Yeah, I had a quick word with him. You can see him, he's just being patched up. He said he'd hurt his shoulder. I asked him if he dislocated it, and he said a little bit. I'm not sure if you can actually dislocate your shoulder a little bit. Either you do or you don't. But I think the gist of it was, here we go, we just see him, ow. That's where he hurt it, didn't he? But I don't think it's seriously dislocated. And the gist from Toby seemed to be that perhaps it wasn't as bad as first thought, but we'll see if he manages to recover in time to face Scotland here next week.
OK, so very simply, Rafa, final score will be?
29-30 for France, of course.
And, Gary, England just the same again, really?
Simple, basic rugby, and if France continue to play as they are, they will rack up the points again.
If France don't improve, it could be 40 points.
Could be 50. Could be. It's only 2 more scores and it's 40 points. Anyway, well, the big question is, will Rafael Ibanez still be here for our analysis at the end of the match? Let's go back to Brian Moore and Eddie Butler.
Andy Goode comes on in the place of the injured Toby Flood. Landed on the point of his elbow and has had a shockwave into his shoulder. What a scoreline at half-time.
Just waiting. Well, okay. They'll be very happy. We're waiting here more to see just what the French will do this half, if anything.
Here we go then. What has been said in the 2 change rooms? Quite a difficult one for England, but you know, keep it going, no mistakes, and they immediately make one. Dylan Armitage.
But again, that kick-off was something and nothing really. Too long to chase. We gave Armitage a lot of time. He didn't clear it as he should have done, but had the opportunity.
Lee Mears will have to throw it again. Just the one change in the England team. Tom Croft is not a change, he's just winning more line-out ball. Andy Goode is on. And France knocks the ball forward. Outside the 22, England's kicker, ball already over the touchline. So France have an attacking platform, and they haven't had many of those all match.
Come down. Keep coming.
Well, this will be the first time they've been in the England 22.
Keep going.
The whole game.
Keep going.
Look where he is. Sorry.
Can they secure ball?
Chabal wins, Parra passes. Tanduc, Josion drops it. So we're off, and England are coming away with it. Tyndall, Armitage, goes past Bastow, goes past Chabal, Flutie inside. Will he have the pace to get past Amos? Yes! The strength and the determination. Flutie scores. England keep it going. 5 tries now. France, well, they were in tatters, they're now in shreds.
Same again. France, leaden, ponderous, predictable. England, give credit to, I think it was Goode that scooped the ball off when it was knocked down. And then England played with the head up, saw the chance was on here. Who is it? I think it is Andy Goode who flicks it off the floor. Yep. And from there, they show the ambition and the pace. The patience and then the elusiveness.
Andy Goode, England's 3rd kicker of the day. Toby Flood began. Dylan Armitage had got the last one, and another one scuffed. Andy Goode's first. And a change. This is Ricky Flutie, try scorer. Phil Vickery has gone off. Looks like a blood.
The important thing here, just takes the time to look up, doesn't clatter in. And whilst Flutie couldn't outpace him, he did get the ball down.
34-0. Easter catches the
You're all in front, obstruction.
ball, and England is obstruct in front of the ball catcher.
And they did, and it wasn't very subtle. Now, surely they're not going to kick for goal. No.
Julian White is on the field in the place of Phil Vickery.
Oh my God!
No, they've got away with it. Just.
Was it? Are you sure? Oh. The crowd in the corner don't think so.
That's the middle. Take him there. Keep going. All of them.
Well, we talked about the attacking platform for France a couple of minutes ago. England scored. It's an even better attacking platform for France. What will happen? They lose the ball, and it's Captain Borthwick who's taken it. And in the middle of all this, you have to say, what a day for Borthwick it's been. Good. Make sure that France's next platform is not nearly as promising.
The two hookers are facing off together. You do have to give credit to that man. You do have to give credit to Lee Mears, who's thrown well. That was an underthrow by a long way.
And again, it's picked off. France, though, scramble it back. And England come away with it through Simon Shaw. Andrew Sheridan. The ball ripped off France again. Andy Good, left-footed. Oh, we haven't heard this at Twickenham for a while. Armitage manages to deliver. Lee Mears at scrum half.
No hands, stay on your feet.
In comes Julian White to clear Harry Nordaki out of the way. Good. Mark Cueto lying deep, going the long way round. Back to Lee Mears.
Easy.
Mears sets it up for Ellis. Good. Interesting. There are a lot of England players out here. Simon Shaw is one of them. As was Cedric Aimons, but the touchline beat everybody.
Knock on first.
The more worrying thing for England, Armitage is down at the moment. Well, with a fair bounce, England could have gone the length, and with a bit more luck, conversely, Aimons could have gone the other way. Neither did.
Doesn't look too serious for Dylan Armitage. Vickery is a blood injury.
Okay.
It's interesting if you look at where Medal stands for France. There's a lot of space all the time in the middle because he's not standing where fullbacks usually do, and that's giving a whole lot of room for the England kickers.
Dylan Armitage in full flow, and this is the England pack on the other side of the field. The scrimmage is still a mess. England this time get the free kick, quickly taken by Nick Easter. Joe Worsley. England fully confident, messing around behind the advantage line and still in control of the ball. Ellis, Borthwick gets the ball away well. Cueto can't do it, kicks it on. And it still falls to an England player, Ugo Monya. Oh, Worsley stood up firm against the challenge. The twin hit Good. A little bit of common sense. Interesting. Nedar was there, but Tom Croft and Mike Tyndall were in pursuit.
Said it before, there's nothing wrong with kicking the ball if you do it purposefully and you do it with effect, and that was both. And England at the moment, they just have it. They've got to stop themselves thinking that this game is a cakewalk and they can just do what they want when they want behind the ball. They've got to remember what got them to the position they find themselves in now, i.e. the hard work, the straight running, the creation and then exploiting of gaps, because they won't be able to. It's not a game of sevens where they can just run the ball willy-nilly behind. It won't work. They've got to get back and keep concentrating.
Here come, well, it's a thankless task, isn't it, if you're sitting on the French bench and you get the nod to go on. Do you want it? Jérôme Tillon is coming off. François Trinduc and Mathieu Bastaro, they are all being replaced. Julien Bonner is on. Oh, meanwhile, away come France, but the whistle has gone. Florian Fritz
We haven't called
is
time on
on
yet.
into the centre to partner Yannick
Yeah,
Josian.
it was no time on. Yeah, what the gap?
Julien Bonner and Damien Traille is the
Haven't called
last
time on yet. Sorry.
of the French replacements.
Okay, time back on. Line out's over. Stay out, just stay out.
Nallet for France.
Don't touch him.
Para.
Cross backwards.
France
Cross
have an
backwards.
advantage, still gone backwards. Chabal. First touch for Damien Traille. Dylan Armitage.
Just stay there.
It is England's day. They kick too long and it comes off the post.
Wait there, wait there.
Mark Cueto.
Okay.
Andy Good. Harry Ellis. Oh, Chabal just pushes the Leicester scrum half into touch.
Easy, easy. Easy.
Not quite, but Ellis has been the beneficiary of a good performance by the England pack, who supplied him with good quality first phase ball, and more importantly, and most importantly, a lot of quick ball thereafter. And he's played his part by releasing the backs.
Bonner wins. Tie. Amos, that went forward. England advantage.
Thrown forward, no advantage to White.
From France, tentative in the backs, no faith in their handling ability.
Blue one,
Laboured.
Blue one.
England's defence coming up, putting them under not inordinate pressure, just the sort of pressure that is natural in international rugby, and they're not coping with it.
Thomas Domingo comes on. Off comes Lionel Faure.
Crouch, touch, pause, engage. Easy.
Well,
easy.
Eddie, we have not had one scrum that has actually gone the full... No, we've had one England scrum that went the full distance, i.e. ball in, played properly, and then out again. I'm amazed that there's been no more, there's been no talking by the referee to players. And that's good by England.
Scrum's up first. Scrum is up first.
But why is it up, and whose fault is it? And the answer on this occasion is France, because England were driving square and France returned. And that's a penalty.
It goes up first. Yeah. Steady and straight. Crouch, touch, pause, engage.
Penalty to England. Quickly taken. Easter. Du Sautoir
Now release 22.
and Tie make the tackle. Penalty again against France.
Right, he's got to have a word now. This has gone on long enough.
Ricky Flutie takes it quickly. Ellis, Good, Croft is the cutout as it goes to Hugo Monya, who starts a march infield, stays away from the touchline.
Stay back, three, blue, back.
Good, Worsley. Good, the little kick is on. Ty did well he read that well. Even before Good had kicked it, he was thinking kick. Now then, Simon Shaw, acting fullback.
Wrong decision.
Penalty against Shaw.
Wrong all round, in fact.
Squeeze it straight away.
Especially when if he looked left, and I think may have just looked left, and ignored four men who had got back to help him. As soon as you're isolated like that, you're going to get pinged.
France try and create something in this corner of the field. They've been here twice and they've flopped twice. Martin Johnson, a word with the former captain, Phil Vickery.
I'm sure part of that may be to tell him for England to, you know, get their heads back down. That flight of fantasy by Simon Shaw, indicative of the fact that they may be taking it a little too lightly.
5, far side.
Chaval is there over the ball, makes a yard. That's the new player Domingo trying to drive on, and England turn France over.
Time to go.
And then Ricky Flutie thought, I can't possibly go from under my own bar. Cédric Emos, Maxime Médard, Josian with Malzieu cutting inside. A very rare French attack. Arnaud the Key spins out of the tackle well. Just a little glimpse of the old Arnaud the Key.
High on top of blue foot. Move!
France have stopped their own movement and earned themselves a penalty.
Roll off.
Off go France, tie the replacement. Parra, Emos, and Monnier did just enough to stop the try.
The French are very unhappy, the players anyway.
I don't think it came off Monnier's hands.
Get the number,
well, they're looking.
With one hand, and there's no way to caught the ball. It's a deliberate knock-on.
Thought so.
We haven't got a number.
Deliberate knock-on.
knockdown. If we did, it'd go to the bin.
Dylan Armitage.
Penalty to blue.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, his footballers dive forward, isn't it? There. If it did touch him, it looked as though it did.
France have a penalty, deliberate knock-on in a try-scoring situation. Just imagine if he'd been sin-binned.
Well, strict letter of the law.
Okay, time
if
out.
he had.
Yep.
There's no attempt at all to play that ball in or to catch it, and that's definite penalty.
Stop. Nigel, just hold him, mate. We'll time out. There you go.
A shout to the penalty try, actually.
Talking of the sin bin, on comes Danny Kerr for Harry Ellis. Of course, Kerr binned in Dublin. A chance to make amends today. He can join the party. Or have France got something left? The rumbling, rolling ball round the tail of the line out. England have taken it to the ground. That's the first part of the defensive job.
Get going, 8.
A single French runner takes it on.
Take a half a step.
No ground gained yet. France, though, suddenly rush forward.
Stay out at 5 white, come back. 5 white.
Simon Shaw being warned off.
He doesn't have to, he's bound.
Arnaud the Key.
Stay back.
Zalzewski's over. France's first try. It won't affect the result.
Well, the French patience worked there. The ball was slow, they had no real option, but in the end, they determined that they would stay in and around the breakdown and eventually powered their way over.
Good body angle, good drive by the hooker.
Well, actually, so low were Tom Croft and the would-be tacklers, they actually went under Zalzewski, which is unusual, trying to make sure that they don't get bumped over by a big player. In doing so, went under a small one who just nipped over the top. A decent reward for France there. Very physical, very patient and effective.
In terms of climbing the cliff face, if only to save face. Rising above 0 is a start. Scoring a try is a continuation. It stays at 5 as Parra's conversion is a bit like France in general, a bit weak and wobbly. England have just rung a whole raft of changes. We'll come to those in a minute. That's Dimitri Zalewski finishing off the try-scoring job. And who's coming off for France? Jean-Tillon has already gone.
For England, Hartley is on. Vermeer's Narroway. No, sorry, Haskell is on.
Simon Shaw has gone off. This is Thierry Dusautoir. And suddenly France have a bit of zip. It's not surprising that England have lost concentration, although Dylan Hartley comes away with the ball and gives it to Andrew Sheridan, who would enjoy a little romp. Is that Phil Vickery back on? Good does well. Good hands to Tyndall. Tyndall can't get the ball away yet. James Haskell is there with Croft. Penalty to France. England not releasing there.
Well, England just being fractured at the moment, playing rugby, which
move your leg, you can pick it
they
up.
didn't do in the first half, and that's the problem. And the other thing that is important here is that England stopped France right on the gain line for the whole of the first half, and it showed that when you do that, can't move the ball this half, they're falling off the tackle slightly, and France are getting momentum because of that.
Lawrence?
Well, I think it's been an excellent performance by England so far, but I'm sure we would all agree the reason it's been excellent is because they've been doing the simple things right. Nothing flash, just simple, defending well, simple confrontational rugby. And Martin Johnson's been up and down the steps here and getting messages to the guys who have just taken the field, probably just to say, look, let's get our shape back, let's get a bit of composure back and get back to playing simple rugby.
Right, changes for France. Sébastien Thiusbald is on at scrum half. Here he is passing to Damien Traille outside half. This is Florian Fitz, and suddenly France have got some momentum. Julien Malzieu involved. They've also got a new hooker on the field in Benjamin Kayser. France will have the put-in at the scrummage.
Scrum down. Number 3 ripped it off him, formed, taken in.
So what's happening again, France just managing to get over the gain line. Very simple rugby is get over the gain line, get quick ball, everything is easy.
Crouch, touch, pause, engage.
France has split things behind this scrum.
Stay on,
Médard goes left, but the ball comes right to Traille, to Josiang. Good and Worsley make the tackle. Here's Thiusbald. Damien Traille. Kayser. Wrapped up by Croft. Penalty to France.
You're a tackler 3, let him go. Get your feet. You've gone to ground, let him go. You're holding on.
Seen that somewhere before.
Does ring a certain bell, doesn't it? Cédric Aimons going for the corner.
Don't let these become a trend.
Don't let these become a trend, said the referee.
On the day, on the day.
Nigel, you got the front.
Well, he will say he's on his feet. He is on his feet.
Keep going, you made it
but
here.
the referee didn't agree.
He's made it all the way here, off you go, let's go.
And that is the only view that counts.
Kayser checks the throw. Chabal goes up, slaps it behind Thiusbald, who then feeds time. Offload doesn't get a hand.
Lost backwards, play on.
Play on, ball's gone backwards.
Right away. Thank you.
Aminor the Kayser. Lack of control at the breakdown. England steal it. Phil Vickery. Dylan Hartley.
Keep your feet. Let it go now, White. Thank you. Standing behind here. Push back. Keep your feet. Keep your feet, keep your feet.
It's all very scrambled. France could have turned over the turnover. England send in the reinforcements.
Roll away. Let him go.
This is the messiest breakdown situation of the Six Nations. But it comes out to Thierry Dussautoir. Amin Olaki. 6 tries in the game. That'll boost the average for the matches, which was not high.
Driving forward.
France will have the put-in.
Can't get out, his arm's trapped. Going forward.
I've just been told that England are the top try scorers of the championship with 13.
Time out, yep, time out.
Austin?
Well, Eddie, we haven't seen it for a while, but aerial ping-pong has become something that you can relate to in international rugby, and there's ways to get around it. We look at England here, this is known as a switchback. We hit Andy Good, who collects the ball. He's got 2 guys there on the touchline who are looking at the end of the French defensive line. He heads infield to bring the defensive line infield and then shifts back to the outside. You watch it, he does it, he executes it really well, gets to the outside, and the pass gets Harry Ellis almost through the channel. Had he not run just slightly into touch, England were away for potentially another great attack. It's an easy way to stop the ping-pong kicking, which I hate.
It would have been unnatural to believe that England would have carried on the same way with the same ease as the first half. You know, international rugby wouldn't be that if a team like France simply crumbled. But England really now do have to concentrate and show their mettle, getting back to where they were.
Easy, easy, easy. Easy.
Forum after this game, the tone of the English input might be slightly different this week. There's the email address at the bottom. Use the red button.
Crouch, touch, pause, engage.
Penalty to France from the scrummage.
Time out, time out, time out.
Timeout has been called.
Call time out.
Oh my goodness, he's going to give a warning.
Hands off me.
Get back, back.
Our knees are off the ground.
Yeah, no. There's no bind from you, and that's why it's forcing him to go down, okay? You've got to get a bind. Too many penalties now. Fix it, or we'll go to another solution. You understand?
Well, you know something? That is absolute nonsense. He may be right about the penalty.
To talk to him, okay?
He is right about the penalty.
Scrum.
But Sheridan has not been the cause of all the drops. You know, he may well have got unhappy about this, but he's just picked on one particular collapse.
I bet he gets a grip this time.
Crouch, touch, pause, engage.
Stuart Dickinson on Andrew Sheridan's side of the scrum, and Sheridan does indeed use his left arm to grab hold of his opposite number. Damien Tai gets the offload in. To use ball, Monye though intercepts, and England will come away with the ball.
Let it go, let it come.
Turn back over.
Penalty to France, and this often happens in a game which is decided well before the final whistle.
Time out.
Don't you think, Brian?
Captain,
you know,
please.
The penalty count always goes against the side really struggling.
England are going to get warned here, which I find, they probably deserve to get warned, but the French deserve to get warned in the first half as well.
It's become a trend now. You leave me with no alternative. Next one, we'll go to the bin. Okay. Yeah, you got time? Go and tell him. Yeah, absolutely.
Time off.
It's time off. There you go and tell him.
I don't want to run it.
No. It's just time off. Just hold it there. Just hold it. Just get a little bit of blood fixed.
Well, this time, Steve Borthwick takes the time to tell everyone what he's been told, and they've got to listen.
No, it's not remember what I've just been told. It's remember what we've been talking about all week. James Haskell. He's one of the ones who's seen yellow in recent times.
And the possession there decisively in French rugby. And all this really shows, Ed, is the fact that if you've got possession against you, territory against you, and you're going backwards, you get caught. Okay. Time again.
Yep.
5 of these for England. Mark Cueto began the romp. Set piece move. Try for Ricky Flutie. Joe Worsley will score after Dylan Armitage. Here he is. Hands of Steve Borthwick to the wing forward. And in the second half, the runaway for Ricky Flutie. Back live. Try for Julien Malzieu. So simple, too simple.
And you're right, outflanked with embarrassing ease, really. Three on two. Doesn't need the inside man, misses him. Well, he's in no man's land there, I'm afraid. Got to feel a bit sorry for him because he's got two men to cover, but if he comes inside, he's got to get the ball or he's going to hit the man, one or the other.
Julien Malzieu, and England just have to be a little bit careful here. I mean, they're going to win the game, and it's all over, but they've just entered that situation. They've yielded 2 tries. They've had 2 warnings from the referee. They've just got to hold it together here. Thai can't add the conversion. 34 points to 10.
And what England won't want is to finish on a really bad note, having ended the first half on such a high with all the positives to take from that performance. They will not want to go down the tunnel, even having won, with memories of ill discipline and a fractured second half, so they need to get that back together.
Damien Traille, who's well, he's had a big game since he came on.
Stay back, take a step.
Much more of a physical presence. It seems to be the trend of the moment. Get the big brigade on. Andy Good, tricky little bounce for him. And again. And the ping pong starts. But that wasn't entirely Andy Good's fault there. Here we go, Thai to Medar. He can go around Good. He does. And he can take on these forwards. And a pass out of the offload situation. Finds the Frenchman, Arnaud the key. Goes past Haskell. Croft makes the tackle. This is Yannick Josian. This is a very different France. Nallet tries to find the last try scorer, Malzieu. Support there from Thomas Domingo, the prop, to use ball. This is Julien Bonner, another of the replacements. Another offload works to Marconnet.
Move 16, get out of the way!
Well, it's all France at the moment. This is Florian Fritz. Medar switches. Thai. Josian. Well, this time he manages to cling on to it. Maybe his personal fortunes have changed in this game.
Leave it, 3 white, leave it! Thank you.
Josian. Monnier watches it. Did he get in Malzieu's way?
The French contingency in the in the crowd thought that he did. So France again, we're going through the phases, and they are decisively at the moment winning the battle of the collisions. All around the field, in the tackles and the mauls and the rucks, they are going forward.
We're inside, are we, mate? Inside.
Another change for France, while Andrew Sheridan has... sorry, Joe Worsley has attention. In fact, Joe Worsley is coming off. Louis Picamol is on. Joe Worsley is off.
No, just hold it.
Arnaud the key is off. Picamol is on, and Nick Kennedy is about to come on. Bottom left of your screen there, wearing 18. He'll have to wait. No, time off. Here comes Nick Kennedy. That's the case of Joe Worsley. He's got a hand or a wrist injury. So with Toby Flood injured and now Joe Worsley, there is a price to pay for England. Kennedy comes on and scoops up line-out ball. Dylan Hartley wrestles for it. France get a little drive on.
No, don't touch. Stay back.
Danny Kerr. Andy Good.
Wait there, wait there. Just stay, no, you're not. There you are.
Medar, a chance to counter. Tius board. Chabal with Nale alongside him. Bonner is on his own. Ty, Aimance, Josian. Chabal does take some dragging down. Kaiser. Kennedy put him down. It's Medar, good hands to Bonner. Medar stays down, Bonner stays on his feet. Somebody has to pick it up for France. Nobody was there. A turnover for England. And this was how it all began, ripping the ball off France and cutting loose. Mind you, that is England inside their own 22. I don't think they'll be cutting loose from here now.
So again here, they can't be allowed to keep that ball this long.
Medar will take it quickly. Malzieu inside him. Aimance. Josian. Aimance against Nick Kennedy. Good tackle by the second row replacement. And good counter-rucking by England. Haskell, Good. Very cleverly done by Good, and Cueto couldn't quite make the most of it, but they're thinking at least Easter is the latest to struggle.
Well, this will be interesting because
here's the middle, go.
Who will go in the back row?
It's gone. 2 and 2.
Examples there, rucking, counter-rucking. You can see the difficulty of the referee deciding who isn't on his feet, who has or hasn't let go of the ball. And that was in slow motion, remember. The referee's going to see that as everyone is flying in.
France are winning the second half 10-5. Not that it counts. Oh, well done, Dylan Armitage, well taken. Monya.
Stay back. Sorry.
Flutie. Kennedy. Kerr. Hartley, good offload. Hartley to... Is that Phil Vickery? No, not Phil Vickery. This is James Haskell. Phil Vickery now goes in. It was Steve Borthwick who's lost his head guard. Easter. Oh, he's back up. Good offload to Armitage. Good pace from Armitage. Croft is with him. Armitage can't find Croft. That's good strength by Louis Picamol, covering back for France. They need a scrum half. Chabal is there. Could have been tried. Number 6 for England.
Is that ball in or out?
And France so casual, but they got the penalty, is it? Knock on, scrummage. Scrum down. Here's the break. Easter, the clever little one-handed offload to Armitage. There's the pace of the fullback. 3 white shirts there, and the 2 returning blue shirts stopped England this time.
Trying to force the pass away there. Probably should have held on, but difficult to say. Well, it's easy to say when you're up here. He has to do that heat of the moment.
Thomas Domingo comes off for France. It's just a blood. So it means the return of Lionel Faure into the front row.
Guys, it's in the eye. Happy it's blood.
There's still 8 minutes left.
Time back up.
And a replacement for England. Matthew Tate comes on for Ugo Monya.
That's it. Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
Penalty to France, quickly
No
taken
here from three.
by
No
two
line.
ball. Tai, Josian, Fritz, Medar. Medar against Cueto. Good tackle. Mike Tyndall.
Stay away. Get out of the way.
Thierry Dusautoir.
Just stay there. Let him get it.
Oh, tied. That's one of his ugly passes. Oh, Amos, that's an ugly catch. Croft, the outstanding Tom Croft, comes up to put pressure on France as they return to that state of disarray. They've had a good quarter of an hour. Tai at least takes them outside their 22. England line out, chance for Dylan Hartley to practice some basics.
Thank you.
Mick Kennedy, perhaps a surprise omission from the starting lineup, but he's on now.
Stay with him.
James
Thank you.
Haskell, he too went down to the bench for this game.
Line out's over.
Easter at the tail to his clubmate Danny Kerr. Tyndall, good angle by Armitage, but it was a dummy run in the end. England still in control. Need a bit more zip. Here's Haskell. Kerr waits, gets the ball away to Easter. A bit too casual from Easter. One-handed interception by Immense. Lionel Faure taken off and now back on. Josian, Chabal, offloads, oh, bouncing, no, went back and forth. England get the put in. Oh, one from the old days.
It warms my heart to see that.
Fine.
The shirt of Mike Tyndall, by the way.
There it is there.
Now then,
Yeah,
where
just
does
come up
this...
another little step. You wait, I'll get them to you.
Oh, there you go. Now then, who's that stood there? Not supposed to do that anymore.
Crouch, touch,
Right in
pause,
front of the
engage.
touchscreen.
We're not going down now. We're not going down now.
Yeah. Don't duck in, head up.
There is one thing that is certain here, and it is that you've got sets of players, certainly the ones that have been on for the full game, who are shattered now. It has been
Crouch,
a huge physical encounter, whatever else it's been.
Stay out of it, 9. Thank you.
That's good by Easter. One-handed. Armitage. What a good game the fullbacks had. Flutie. He's been a bag of tricks too. Good ball released for Kerr. Good angle from Easter. So Easter, that's good. You make one mistake and you immediately make amends. That's not bad defending by France either.
Don't touch it, don't touch it. White ball. White ball.
Good. Who's out there? It is Mark Cueto. And that's gone forward.
Not forward, may I say, perhaps an overuse of that.
Keep going. That's it.
90.
Different ball.
Especially when, Eddie, you know, England have been good with ball in hand. They've created the
Only
stuff
one person can touch it, I know. I'd like
has
to.
looked impressive, and
You've got to
indeed
carry
has
it
been
inside yourself.
impressive,
Can't give it
as
to
indeed
somebody
running
else.
like that shows when they've kept the ball in hand.
Steve Borthwick towards the top of the line-out chart. Just one behind Tom Croft. Somebody has to take the kick first. Du Sautoir detached from the back of that maul.
Carried back.
Chaval. England have tackled him well today.
Carried back.
France put boot to ball. Found a lot of space. And really, you can tell the levels of fatigue now because Dylan Armitage didn't have to make any urgent effort to get there. That's an excellent kick by England's fullback. France take it quickly. Here we go to Maxime Médard, the fullback. And Médard spots the line of forwards and goes through them. Still going. It's Nick Kennedy who makes another important tackle for England. That's a good pickup by Cédric Aimance. Du Sautoir. England have turned it over. Oh no, they haven't. They knocked it on first. Okay, Brian. I don't suppose the man of the match is going to come from France's side. Who is it?
Enough, no. But my RBS Six Nations man of the match, that man, Tom Croft, Titanic all round today. Not just in the line out, but he's done his fair share of tackling. He's been involved in supporting, driving ball on, clearing ball, interlinking, complete performance.
France. Well, they've had a much better second half. It's just unfortunate that the game was absolutely dead and buried long before the half-time whistle came. Lionel Faure charged from the front row. Ty Josian. Turnover. Matthew Tate has the ball. Ricky Flutie now has it. Squirter, penalty to England. There's an injury to Lionel Faure in field.
Some people are urging a tap penalty here, but I don't think they realise just how drained a lot of those players are. Thank you.
There it is. There's happiness tinged with absolute fatigue there. Nick Kennedy, he's fresh on, but he's done an awful lot of running around. 34-10, how emphatic is that?
Well, second half is 10-5 to France, I think, but I wouldn't take too much out of that. I think England did tighten the game up when they needed to in the end. Just rocked for a 15-minute period, and had you had a French side of old, capable of ripping people to shreds in the backs, may have been different, but never was going to be.
There's the man of the match.
Nothing there. It's
Tom Croft pushing in the line out by France. This will sound very sweet on the ear of the England captain, Steve Borthwick. Twickenham in full voice. And not bad for the England coaching team led by manager Martin Johnson there in the middle. One last chance. We're into overtime, but the line out is set. Dylan Hartley to throw.
Time back on.
Kennedy, Kerr, Good, Flutie, Easter. And as they began, England just started to make a few feet through the tackle. Borthwick works the loop with Good. Armitage. Ricky Flutie did have a good game. Mark Cueto, he's played well too. Flutie to the captain, who delivers quickly for Good.
Off the foot, play on.
Off the foot, play on. England still have a chance to
leave it 7, leave it.
End this game as they played in the first half, scoring tries. Mark Cueto, good strength, good handoff by Mark Cueto on his teammate from Sale. Lionel Faure, good angle. Hartley from Kerr, another good handoff. for the Waikato hooker. Very much an England player now.
Don't touch.
Penalty. Play will go on.
Advantage.
Good. Cueto lurking just behind him, playing scrum half. Easter. Phil Vickery cuts the angle. And gets the offload away. Julian White involved as well. Haskell hangs on to it. Penalty advantage being played again. France.
Side through here.
There must be an exhaustion factor in France. Danny Kerr.
The calling on the far side for something. One of the French players waving their physio on him with some urgency.
This is Chabal. Englishman down, timeout. 82 minutes, 43 seconds played, and still we go on.
Borthwick there, he's led by example. I think it was right to give him the stick he got before. It's right again today to give him the praise when he deserves it. Led well, played well. And if I were England now, I'd take a scrum. Both sides are open to attack and see if they can finish where they started.
Phil Vickery is the injured player, trying to make the surge through that gap. Perhaps they won't opt for the scrum now with their tight head down.
Well, the chances are there'll be a penalty one way or another.
I think it's a penalty to England.
No, from the scrum.
Oh yeah, see what you mean. They are going for the scrimmage, and Vickery goes on to the loose head. Now, who's this down for France? It's number 19, Julien Bonner. The clock will restart. Long old game, this. It wasn't the last play. This presumably will be.
Well, they want to go one out here because Bonner's injured and he won't be able to cover from number 8.
Good old Channel 1 ball for Kerr. Good. Andy Good gets the offload away to Tate. To Tyndall. Good again. Will the kick work? Doesn't.
Well, had it done, Croft was all alone in about 30 metres of space. Miss hit, otherwise he would have been in.
And France will just want to thump this ball off the field, I'm sure.
Okay.
There we go. It's all over. France did win the second half 10-5, but they were smashed to pieces in the first half. 29-0 to England, which makes the final score here at Twickenham. England 34, France 10.
Nick Easter exhausted, Croft man of the match. They're all exhausted, but they should be satisfied today. And Borthwick more than any other.
Well, 2 hours of absolute agony for the French this afternoon, and if not ecstasy, certainly a sense of a job well done for England after all the preambles and all the debate about discipline and indiscipline. In the end, they just played simple, straightforward and very effective rugby with a bit of dash of French flair as well, and they won it emphatically. Jerry Guscott.
No sin bins, no penalties, basic rugby results in keeping possession, getting over the gain line and scoring tries. Very, very simple. More of the same next week, please.
Rafa?
France reacted a bit, in the second half, but to me, the game was over at half-time.
We have an interactive forum coming up in about a minute and a half's time on the red button, so all you have to do is text us, email us, hit the red button in a minute's time or so, and we'll continue the debate. The impartial observer, Jonathan?
Well, France, no emotion, no passion, and I thought England, a great disciplined performance by England, just played what was in front of them.
Here's the man of the match.
Tom, congratulations. Are England back in business?
Yeah, I think we owed ourselves that performance today. the fans there were superb today. The French came back at us, but all credit to the boys. They stood strong and withheld.
It's been a difficult campaign for England at times. How much sheer hard work has gone into turning this around?
Oh, it's been a massive week. We concentrated massively on keeping the penalty count down. I'm not too sure of the stats, but I think we were about there today. And yeah, it was just a superb performance from the boys.
We've seen the potential in this England side today. How much more is there to come, do you think, Tom?
There's loads to come. I think our turnover play, especially today, was superb. The boys, you know, flicked that switch, got the ball in hands and created space, and I think there's a lot more of that to come.
Good stuff, Tom. You are the RBS Six Nations Man of the match. Congratulations.
Cheers, thank you.
Well, it's too late for England to play any part in the destination of the championship, but that's how the table looks at the moment. It's either Ireland for the Grand Slam or it's Wales to be champions if they win by more than 13 points next Saturday, and that's something they haven't done for 32 years. So, the final weekend of the championship looks like this. Super Saturday, for want of anything else to call it. 1:15, Italy-France from the Stadio Flaminio. France will be out for revenge after today, won't they? England-Scotland. I wonder what Frank Haddon made of that performance, watching England's backs, especially today. And then Wales-Ireland, obviously, just worth repeating. Ireland